Today, we've got CEO Greg Ferron of Platinex joining us. Greg is going to tell us about the exploration plans for its South Timmins joint venture and give us a brief overview on what's been happening since we interviewed Greg 3 months ago. Platinex acquires and advances precious and battery metals projects in Ontario. It's Wednesday, August the 2nd. I'm Martin Gagel with Market Radius Research. Please remember, this is neither recommendation nor investment advice. We're here to learn about the company and get an update. Greg, thanks a lot for joining us. Glad to have you back here. And please, what's been going on with Platinex?
Yeah, hi, Martin. Nice seeing you again, and good afternoon. It's very nice to be back. And yeah, I'm very happy to give you an update. The good news is we've had a very successful first couple quarters of the year. And as you may recall from our earlier discussion, I joined the board in the middle of 2020. I became the CEO about 18 months ago. And during that phase, we've had quite a busy track record. We added 2 battery metals projects in Ontario. And I think we significantly enhanced our overall gold portfolio in the Timmins camp. We've reconstructed a brand new shareholder base, which is much stronger. We've completed a number of financings. And over the last little while, we've been getting permits, planning for exploration. But now I'm happy to say that we're in the field, getting work done, setting us up for a very exciting fall with the results that will come out in a number of these projects. And I think we're very well positioned in Ontario with a great portfolio. And before I get into the work we're doing, why don't I just quickly recap for the investors that are listening on a bit about Platinex. So we own 3 projects in Ontario. Our flagship project is our copper nickel platinum palladium project located in northwestern Ontario, just on the west side of the Ring of Fire. So I'll talk a little bit about that project. Most of the discussion today, I'll talk about our South Timmins joint venture. It's a gold-focused vehicle we've created with Fancamp. I think we've done a great job creating a very interesting vehicle around IAMGOLD's Côté project. And that project is fully financed for drilling over the next couple of years. So I'll walk you through today what it entails on that exploration program. And then the final asset is called Muskrat Dam. It's another copper nickel project. All these projects were owned by past producers. So 2 owned by Inco, 1 by Noranda and Falconbridge. And that's sort of our focus. We buy these high quality projects in good jurisdiction and then advance them. Just quickly, as I mentioned, our capital structure. So we've got about 25% of our shares in mining companies, which includes Fancamp, Treasury, Alamos. And then we've got a very nice distribution of family offices in Europe, in Canaccord. We've got a large presence in Quebec, Alberta, and the stock does trade quite well. And we have spent a lot of time putting in place a strong shareholder base. And now we're looking to add some institutional investors now that we've put in some good assets. And in our last financing, I'm quite happy with the presence from that. We raised about $3 million, with about 85% of that in, I would consider, sort of long-term investors. And just getting into the South Timmins joint venture. So what we did is we owned 100% of Shining Tree, and Fancamp owned 100% of Heen and Mallard. As you can see, we're in the South Timmins camp. There's lots of infrastructure, power, operating mines like Alamos's Young-Davidson to the east, and you've got IAMGOLD's Côté going in production next year. So we created a joint venture where we currently own 75%, Fancamp owns 25%, and we're going to spend approximately $3 million over the next couple of years advancing these projects, and then they'll own 50%. And I think we've done a great job creating this interesting vehicle around Côté. So the program is a combination of drilling. We're going to be stripping and drilling at Heenan in the fall. We're going to be doing prospecting, soil sampling around the former Noranda results at Mallard, with a goal of drilling that in the winter. And at Shining Tree, we're doing a combination of, we're going to be stripping at surface the historical mine, Rhonda, that we bought from Alamos, which is located right here in the center of the project. And then we're going to be continuing to do soil sampling and IP type work, preparing for a drill program in and around the central area where we think there's the highest potential for a new discovery. And we're actually, for the first time, going to be looking up here in this area we're calling number 1, which is an extension of the Herrick resource along the Rideout Deformation Zone. So we'll just be doing basic prospecting and looking in that new area. So the program is designed, for 3 reasons. 1, getting ready for this drill program, drilling the projects, and then getting the project ready for that additional funding through the joint venture into 24. So we're very excited about this program. And then just getting into our copper project. So when we met, I guess 3 months ago, we didn't have it permitted. So I'm happy to say that we have completed the permitting process. It took us about a year. It's a lot of work, working with the government, the First Nations, just making sure we've got that relationship in place. I believe we've got the best asset in the Oxford Stall Dome, which hosts a number of these large deposits. And talking about copper nickel projects, there are other projects like chromite and gold, but we're focused on this VMS project, and we control the Lansdowne House project. And there is some very significant historical drill holes up over 200 meters. And the other interesting deposit is Eagle's Nest. It's much smaller, it's more advanced, of course, and higher grade. But in terms of a big district scale project with very large geological potential and very large historical drilling. So we're happy to get that permitting done. And now what we're doing is we're modeling all the historical drill holes, putting together the historical resource, doing Maxwell plate modeling on the new drill program. And so that's getting all that information digitized, and then do a compilation for some strategic investors. And then we'll look at beginning to drill that program in the winter. And I think that'll be a very important milestone for the company is confirming that historical resource and expanding that resource. And, like I said, it's a trophy asset in this district, and I think there'll be a lot of longer term interest. And then, as you can see, Barrick just moved into the camp about a month ago. We were quite surprised to see Barrick move in right beside us. We think they're looking for copper projects. I mean, we know that's their focus, and looking for these large scale projects. There is a lot of gold potential as well through this camp, but it's all quite early stage. So I think they're there for the copper potential.
About how far away is their property from yours?
It's right beside it. They're in blue, so they basically staked the ground all around our project, as you can see. Yeah, so it's about.
So you're right about each other, and interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So we're the gold. It's about 250 square kilometers, and they've gone and acquired about a similar size land package in blue, directly to the west. And it is a very interesting region, because even in our project, you've got some high grade gold samples. And then, of course, you've got the large sort of bulk tonnage copper nickel deposits in the central area. But you've even got chromite, high grade vanadium, titanium results up here, where I'm just in that north corner. And then on the far east side, we've got some very interesting targets that look a lot like Eagle Nest that through VTEM work that we'd like to get out and drill in this first phase. Right. Yeah, and then the final development for the company is we did receive a grant from the Ontario government for $200,000. It was awarded to our Muskrat Dam project, which we're quite happy about. So the people are in the field now. They're going to be doing a prospecting, some sampling, some mapping, looking at the lithium potential. And then in another part of the project where the historical Inco work was on copper nickel, we'll do a large VTEM survey in the winter to look at that potential of that project. And then we do have sort of a strategy coming in place where we're looking to spin out this project, which I can't say too much more about, but it will be a sort of value creating transaction for our shareholders, and something they can look forward to in sort of the fall, fourth quarter. But in the meantime, we're in the field now with this grant, and so we're quite happy to receive that funding, and that's the point of the funding that the Ontario government is doing, is getting projects that may not have been worked before. You get that initial funding, you make a discovery, you have some good results, and then the exploration companies will continue funding that project. So that's the update, Martin.
That's great. You have been got a lot on the go here. You've got $2 million in the bank, so that can get you a fair amount of headway. What is the with all that going on, what is the sort of chronological milestones we should be expecting over the next few months?
Yeah. Yes. So most of the capital we have now is going to that South Timmins Gold joint venture, and then the earn-in money will continue funding that in the first quarter of next year, and then we are funding the lithium work on the Muskrat Dam. Just to be clear, we don't have the funding in place at this point for the copper nickel project, so we are looking at some strategic options once we complete, now that we have the permit, and once we complete this modeling work. So that's where most of the use of proceeds from that financing is going. So you can expect, steady news flow from South Timmins in terms of the, continuing to announce the soil sampling and prospecting results in the fall, the trenching, and then some of the drilling this year. And then we'll do that winter program at Mallard, which will be a drill program, and then most likely a drill program in the first quarter at Shining Tree.
All right, you've got a lot of fun there and a lot of news flow for investors to keep up with. All right, that's great, Greg. Thank you very much. Is there anything else you want to highlight before we wrap things up here?
No, other than I think it's a great time for investors. I mean, the valuations are very cheap. It's a summertime, but I think that the risk capital is starting to come back to the commodity sector. Cameco, Teck, some of these companies are doing very well. And as we talked about earlier before the call, that the big caps in the equity markets are outperforming, and eventually that money is going to start trickling down to battery metals projects in good jurisdictions over the next 12 to 18 months. So I think it is a good time to be buying or at least watching the progress of these junior companies.
Yeah, I agree. Several of my smaller cap names have definitely bounced off the bottom. The IRA in the USA, the Inflation Reduction Act, seems to be working, and inflation's pulling back here. So, and with the strong markets in the big caps, typically that trickles down to the smaller caps as people begin to feel wealthier and more confident, and hopefully we'll see some additional action in the small and micro caps as we head into the fall and people come off their summer breaks.
Yeah, no, I agree. Sounds good.
All right.
Okay, well, thanks,
Thank
Martin.
you very much.
Yeah, take care. Enjoy the rest of summer. Take care. Bye-bye.